Welcome to Men of Order. Before we get started, I want to see who's with me live. So leave me a comment to let me know that you're here. Tell me what city that you're watching from, and I'll give you a shout out. All right. Welcome to Men of Order. Y'all leave me a comment. Let me know where you're tapping in from. It's good to see y'all. We here for another session. All right. Now, listen carefully. Men of Order is for a very specific kind of man. This is not for men who are lazy. This is not for men who are trying to escape responsibility. And this is definitely not for men who are looking for hype or motivation. This is for men who are carrying weight. You're working hard, you're showing up, you're providing, you're being dependable. You're a reliable man, and yet something feels off. If that's you, type "that's me" in the comments. Now, here's the sentence that defines tonight's session. Hey, Brother Fredrigue, I see you, brother. Welcome. Shout out to Fredrigue from Florida. Y'all leave me a comment. Let me know that y'all are here. Let me know that y'all are tapping in live. We got a wonderful session in store for tonight. Definitely going to level us up as men. Now, again, here's the sentence that defines tonight's session. You are working hard, but your career is not moving the way that it should. Not fast enough, not good enough. There's not enough growth. And the dangerous part, you're starting to wonder if this is just how it's going to be. If you've ever thought, I guess this is just how life is as an adult, type "surviving" in the comments. I want you to know something. Tonight is not about working harder. Tonight is about understanding why your effort isn't translating into progress and what an ordered man does instead. Let me be very clear with you up front. This is not career advice. This is not a productivity talk. This is not motivation. This right here is a reality check. By the end of tonight, you should be able to say, I know exactly why my career feels stuck. I see where my effort is leaking. I know the first move that will lower some of my pressure immediately. That's what we're here for tonight, guys. And now for a quick check-in. If you want that kind of clarity, not encouragement, not rah-rah, if you want growth and not hype, if you want to stop wasting effort staying stuck, I want you to type "growth" in the comments right now. Type "growth" to let me know that you're looking for growth as a man of order. All right. I'm seeing y'all in the house. I'm seeing y'all tapping in from Austin. I'm seeing that y'all tapped in from Texas. I'm seeing we got women of order in the house. There we go. I see some men of order in the house. I see Araya. Good to see you on, brother. Let's get to work. Here's the core problem that we're addressing tonight. Most men were taught one rule about success: hard work pays off. That rule worked in survival seasons. It does not work in advancement seasons. See, a survival season is when your goal is just to keep the lights on. An advancement season is when your goal is to move forward with your career, whether that means you make more money, get a promotion, or qualify for better opportunities. The problem is most men keep using survival habits in an advancement season. And nobody tells men when the rules change. So what happens? You keep applying survival effort to an advancement problem. We got to run this back because I see y'all are on and I'm seeing y'all type growth, growth, growth. This is the key. You have to understand the difference between a survival season and an advancement season. Well, what's a survival season, Uzziah? A survival season is when your only goal in life is to get by. We've all been there. You can't think about getting to the top because you're just trying to keep the lights on. You're struggling to pay the bills. And so you work hard and you take any position that you can find just to make ends meet. That's survival. When you're at that survival level, that's where hard work pays off. That's where hard work is the number one key because you have to work hard to put a roof over your head. But see, the problem is every time you try to get to the next level, you're still using the same plays that you were using at level one. We're not in survival mode anymore, guys. At some point, we have to advance. Hard work pays off in survival season. It does not work in advancement season. I'm going to show you why. A survival season is when you're just trying to make it. An advancement season is when your goal is to move forward and level up with your life. This is when you are trying to take your career to the next level. See, this is when you're trying to make more money and not just scratch the surface. This is when you're trying to get a promotion and get a raise. This is when you stop trying to look for dead end jobs and you start pushing yourself beyond your current ceiling. I see some of y'all, you might have entered a company and you started at the ground floor. Maybe you got an entry level position, but now you're ready to get into management. You can take the same tricks that you used to get your foot in the door as an entry level employee and think that you're going to use it to become the manager, a director, a vice president. That's a totally different game. Now we're playing chess, not checkers, men. And the problem is most men keep using survival habits in an advancement season. And nobody tells them. Why is it that they keep using the same habits? Because nobody tells them the difference from one season to the next. They think it's all the same. So what do? They keep applying survival effort to an advancement problem. You stay late at work. You say yes to every request. You take on more responsibility than you should. You prove that you're dependable just by doing all of this, working hard. And with all of this, your income is still flat. You still don't have a great position. You have little authority. You can't call any shots. Your stress level is at an all-time high, and your future feels uncertain. You cannot see the light at the end of the tunnel. Let me ask you something, and I want you to answer this question honestly, guys. Are you more tired than you are paid? I want you to type yes or no in the chat. Are you more tired than you are paid working at your job? Some of you guys might be starting a business. You might be a business owner. And even as a business owner, you just feel like you got a full-time job on steroids. Some of y'all might be in a business wishing you could go back to a 9-to-5 job. Are you more tired than you are paid? I want to see it in the comments section. I'm seeing yes. Yes. I got Habakkuk in the house. Shout out to Habakkuk. I see you, brother. Araya says yes. Esther says yes. If that's you, it's not because you lack discipline. It's because your effort is not structured to move you forward. And that's the disorder. Here's the disorder in one sentence. I want you to hear this clearly. You are wasting effort without increasing value. Say that with me. You are wasting effort without increasing value. Here's something you need to realize: hard work makes you useful, order makes you valuable. There's a difference. Let me explain. Useful keeps the lights on, valuable gets you paid more money. A useful man is needed to keep things from falling apart. He answers emails, he fills the gaps, he handles things as they come. You need a useful man around, but a valuable man is positioned to make things work better. He fixes the thing that keeps breaking in the company. He improves how the work gets done. See, a useful man responds to any old request. Other people decide his day for him. A valuable man solves problems. His work removes future problems. There's a difference. See, a useful man stays busy doing tasks. A valuable man changes outcomes. And because he's a game changer, he's trusted with more power. Always think about this, men: busy versus important. See, busy keeps you tired, important moves your career forward. Now, here's the trap: good men are often the most useful, which keeps them stuck because the system will happily drain your effort without ever moving your career forward. They need people who don't know how the game is played. This economy loves useful men because they don't have to pay you any more than they're already giving you to keep you in the exact same place. See, they know that a useful man works hard, but he's living check to check. So they know you can't afford to demand a raise because you can't afford to lose that job. So they tell you, be useful, say yes to everything, be the first one at the office, be the last one to leave. Any opportunity, jump at it. How many of y'all have heard this before as career advice? Let me know in the comments if you've heard, be the hardest worker in the room. Type yes. Make sure that nobody's outworking you, because hard work is the key to success. Or so we thought. Good men are often the most useful men on the planet. And that's exactly why good men are stuck. You know, there's a famous saying, nice guys finish last. A lot of good men are nice guys. You go to work and you think everybody's rooting for you. Nobody's going to do you dirty, but everybody wants the same position as you. Everybody wants to make more money. So what's going to separate you from everybody else? Those who know how to play the game versus those who don't. And they don't teach you how to play the game in school. You've been taught, go to school, make good grades, get a good job. And how has that worked out for millions of Americans that are up to their neck in student loans? Look at all of the people saying yes right here. Stuart Uzziah, Brother Uriah, Brother Fedrige, Sir Yasha Allah, Shamir, yes. And just look at the women that are tapping in to tonight's session that's saying they heard it. The Wife's Show says yes. Colleen says yes. Colleen, I see you. I want to tell y'all something. Let me slow this down. If your absence from a company causes inconvenience, you are useful. If your absence from a company causes them loss, now you're valuable. Just think about that. If you took 2 weeks off of work and things were annoying at your job versus things breaking, that difference matters. There's a difference between being useful and being valuable. I need you to hear what I said. If you took time off from your job and it was just a petty annoyance, oh, I sure wish John was around to move these papers to the other side of the room. Come on, man. That's not valuable. Somebody's using you. But if, oh man, where's John at? What? John's not working? How are we going to get the job done? See, now you're a man of value. You have to understand the difference between working and creating value. On the last session, I told you many of the hardest working people in the world are in poverty. Think about people working all around the world in places like India, Africa, China, people who work 16 plus hours a day. They're not the CEO, but they're having to work 2 to 3 jobs just to have basic essentials of life. Hard work does not guarantee success. A lot of the wealthiest people in the world work no harder than you. They work smarter. But do you know what the difference is? They create value. What's Elon Musk doing making Tesla self-driving cars? He's creating value. What did Steve Jobs do for Apple when he made the iPhone? He created value. He made something that the world wanted. See, a lot of times we work at things and it's really not creating a ton of value. It's keeping us busy, but not important. I want y'all to remember that there's a difference between being busy and not important. If you're going to make more money and advance in your career, you have to be important in your industry. So let's talk about this. Now I want you to check yourself. I want you to ask yourself this question honestly. What breaks if I stop working? If the answer is things just get a little slower at work, you're working hard, but you're not positioned properly. You're not being viewed as valuable. Now, if you understand what I'm saying right now, I want you to type, I see it. Type, I see it if this is clicking with you. Does what I'm saying make sense? Leave me this comment. Let me know where you're at on this. Okay, good. Good. I'm seeing the comments. I see it. I see it. Perfect. Okay. So let's talk about why this becomes dangerous. When effort doesn't produce progress, men do one of two things. They either work harder or blame themselves for why they're not getting further ahead. Neither fixes the problem. This is how men end up on a treadmill running in place. They work at the same job. They're at the same pay range. They take on the same stress day after day after day. But now they have more exhaustion. Listen to me closely right here. More money doesn't come from more hours. It comes from doing the right work on purpose. That's the shift that most men never make. And nobody tells you when it's time to make that shift. That's how they keep you at the bottom. It's a game. That's what it means to be on the treadmill. The treadmill is when you're doing a lot of running, but you're staying in the exact same place. And a lot of us have had seasons in life where we've been running in the exact same place for years. Let me describe this treadmill further for you. And I want you to tell me if this feels familiar. You start the week already behind. Your calendar is full, but nothing actually meaningful happens. You respond all day instead of deciding. You respond to emails, DMs. Some of y'all in corporate, you're responding to Slack messages. You're responding to meetings and other people's priorities. You decide almost nothing for yourself. Not what matters most, not what moves your career forward, not what deserves your best energy. You get praised for being reliable, but you don't get promoted, do you? You go home tired, not fulfilled. If you've lived that cycle, type, I've lived it. I want to see how many of y'all can relate to what I'm saying. Am I just talking to myself tonight? Or can some of y'all relate to this? I want you to see this is where the disorder comes from. And what's crazy is you thought these were all the right moves to make. You thought working harder than everybody was the right move to make. You thought responding to every message that you got at the job was the right move to make. Look at what Yasharala said. I've lived it. Look at what Stuart Uzziah said. I've lived it. Listen carefully, guys. This is not a work ethic issue. This is not a faith issue. This is not a talent issue. You're talented. This is an order issue. And until you name it correctly, you'll keep fixing the wrong thing. You'll keep busting your behind, wondering why nothing is changing. This is an order problem. See, most men pray for strength when they really need structure. You're strong enough, but you don't understand how to add structure and order to your life. Most men push harder in life when they need boundaries. Most men stay loyal to companies when what they really need is visibility. So I want to show you this mismatch where you think you're doing all the right things, but really that's what's keeping you at the bottom. That's exactly what's draining you. That's the reason why you feel so tired. That's the reason why you feel so stuck. Let that sit for a moment, guys. Here's the first principle. Effort does not equal value. Effort does not equal value. Let me show you something. Two men work 50 hours a week. The first man answers emails fast. He covers everyone else's shift. He fixes a lot of small problems in the company. He keeps things running. Man, he's so reliable. The second man solves one problem that the leadership of the company cannot ignore. He removes one obstacle that slows the business down. See, in the business world, this is known as a bottleneck. This guy, he's a bottleneck remover. He's not chasing everything. He's chasing the one thing that'll make a big difference. This guy right here, he improves one system. They work the same hours. They both work in 50 hours a week, but they have very different futures. Let me make this real for you guys. When I worked at Hewlett Packard, when I was in corporate America, I was regularly working 60 hours a week with no overtime. Whatever they asked me to do, I did it. I stayed late. I worked on projects that other people didn't want to touch with a 10-foot pole. I was all over it. I never said no because I didn't want to get fired. And yet, every performance review sounded the same: meets expectations. Not bad, Uzziah. Not great. Just stuck. It wasn't until I stopped just doing what I was asked to do for the company and started clearly showing the problems I was solving to my manager. That's when things changed. I started connecting my work to results. I made it clear what broke in the company if I wasn't there. And that's when the raise came. Not when I worked harder, but when I worked with intention. Now it's reflection time. Ask yourself, what problem do I solve that the leadership of the company feels, not appreciates, not thanks you for, feels? If nothing comes to mind, don't worry. That's not a loss. That's clarity, because now you know why you're not elevating. A disordered man works without a plan. An ordered man does this instead. He defines outcomes before he gives effort. I want to bring that back. A disordered man works without a plan. He will go to his 9-to-5 job and do whatever he needs to punch the clock. An ordered man defines his outcomes before he lifts a finger. Man, have you ever worked with someone who you thought was lazy, but for some reason they get promoted? Here you go. Oh man, it's politics. They hating on me at the job. Oh man, it must be because I'm black. Oh man, it must be because I'm a woman. I don't know what your situation is. I want you to consider leveling up in business is not about who works the hardest. It's about who knows how to play the game better. You have to know the rules of the game. That's if you want to win. A lot of y'all work very hard, but you've never been taught the rules. And that's exactly why we're going over that in tonight's session. See, an ordered man, before he starts working, he asks, what actually matters? What makes a difference in this company? What problem can I solve that will benefit the entire company? An ordered man isn't focused on working. He's focused on adding value. If you understand this principle, type value in the comments. An ordered man isn't focused on working. See, that's what the useful men do. They focus on working. Hard work pays off, right? An ordered man ain't focused on working. He's focused on being valuable. So he's constantly looking for ways to add value, knowing that work alone does not equal value. There's a difference. If y'all understand that, type value in the comments, because you need to change your career path based upon these steps that I'm giving you. If you keep doing the same things that you've been doing, you're going to keep getting the same things that you've been getting. If you want change, you have to change. Stay with me, y'all. Here's the second principle that most good men don't want to hear, but they need it in their life. Visibility beats loyalty. Let me say that again slowly. Visibility beats loyalty. Now, I just want you to think about something, because you hear that and you might feel some type of way. I want you to pause for a moment before you have a reaction. This does not mean disloyalty. It doesn't mean be arrogant. This doesn't even mean self promotion. It means this: loyalty keeps you trusted, visibility gets you advanced. And many men confuse the two. Let me make this plain for you. A loyal man shows up every day to work. You've probably heard stories about janitors of schools. They showed up every single day to school. They worked for 40, 50 years. They never made beyond minimum wage. That's a loyal man. A loyal man shows up every day to work, while a visible man makes his work undeniable. A loyal man waits to be noticed. A visible man makes his impact obvious. Everybody can see it. Here's how disorder sneaks into your life. Good men say, they know I work hard. I don't need to talk about what I do. The work will speak for itself. And sometimes it does, but a lot of times it doesn't. Not because your work isn't good work, but because leaders are busy focusing on outcomes. They're not watching effort. How many times have you known someone that's a hard worker at a job, but it seems like they're always overlooked? And then you got that guy who may not be the hardest worker, but for some reason, every time he does something, the people watch. He has visibility. He's working smarter, not harder. Some of the hardest working people I know work behind the scenes, and a lot of their efforts go unnoticed. I don't want that to be you guys. I know that you're humble. I know that you're not trying to boast. That's not what this is about. This is about you learning how to get paid what you're worth. This is about you learning how to not be stuck wasting precious time. Leaders focus on outcomes. They only care about the results. So they want to see who's making the results in the company. They're not watching everybody working in the company. They're not going around to every single person watching what they're doing. Why do you think that the president of the company hires supervisors? Why do you think they put managers in position for that responsibility? They're not focusing on who's in the cubicle and who's not. They're focused on who are the game changers. Let me give you all a real example. And shout out, I'm seeing the love. I see you on, brother. Good, you're back on air. Glad to be back on, man. Make sure that y'all smash the like button. Share this very, very important lesson that we got going on in tonight's session. Let me give you all a real example. Two men are on the same team. One man is quiet, dependable, always available, rarely complains about his work. He just gets it done. The other man is a clear communicator. He names problems early. He ties his work to results. And he makes leadership's job easier. He makes the leadership look good. He's strategic about the work that he does. Guess who gets pulled into bigger conversations? Not the quieter man, the clearer man. Now, I want you to hear this carefully. Unseen work means nothing. Let me repeat that. Unseen work means nothing. If nobody sees your work and can explain the impact of the work that you do, you're always going to be replaceable, no matter how hard you work. That's why you've got to have visibility. Your job is to make yourself irreplaceable. That's how you create value. That's how you are respected for what you do. But I want you to reflect on this. It's reflection time. I want you to answer this question honestly. If your boss had to explain your value to someone else, would they be able to do it? If they couldn't do it, that's not an insult. That's information because now you know what you need to fix. Here's what an ordered man does. An ordered man doesn't brag, he frames his efforts. He ties his effort to outcomes. He says, here's what was broken, here's what I fixed. Here's the pressure that I just removed from the company. That's not ego, that's leadership. He's a game changer. If I uncovered something for you by going over this right now, I want you to type clear. Let me know if what I've been saying helped unlock a challenge in your life. I want to look at these comments. Very good. Very good. I'm seeing the comments clear, clear. Very good. Very good. Clear. Let's keep going. The third principle is where most men feel uncomfortable, but it's also where respect starts. Boundaries create authority. Let me say that again. Boundaries create authority. See, most men without boundaries get used. Men with boundaries get respected. I'm seeing more clear. Look at all of this. Very clear, 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 clear. A Diamond Ya in the house. I see you, woman of order. Clear, clear. I'm glad that it's crystal clear, guys, because this is going to help you get to the next level. I need you to take note of this third principle. Boundaries create authority. Men who have no boundaries are not respected. They're used. Men with boundaries get respected. Oh, I keep some boundaries on me. Let's be honest. Most hardworking men struggle with boundaries. You say yes because you don't want to disappoint people, do you? You don't want to be replaced. You don't want to look like you're the difficult guy. You don't want to be the jerk, the a-hole. But over time, all that nice guy stuff, having no boundaries, causes problems. Something happens. Your availability increases, but your authority decreases. Here's why. If you're always available, your time isn't valued. If your time isn't valued, your voice gets ignored. Let me say it more directly. When you have no protected time in your schedule, you send people a message that nothing that you do is important. Nothing is critical. I want you to ask yourself this. Do I have any time at work that's protected, non-negotiable, where I don't let others disturb me? If the answer is no, that's the disorder. An ordered man understands this. He doesn't protect time because he's selfish. He protects time because his thinking is valuable. See, they got a book called Think and Grow Rich. This man thinks his way to success, not works his way to success. Before he works, he thinks. Guess when he's thinking? During his protected time. The man that's getting used and abused, he's hitting the ground running, full of work, but gave no thought to if this work even matters. He's so desperate to put food on the table, he don't got time to think about if the work matters, as long as they're giving him a check. That's when you're in survival mode, not in advancement mode. Men of order is about advancement. Aren't you tired of just surviving? Now is the time to advance. You've been working long enough. Why would you work so many years of your life and never advance? We don't want a wasted life, guys. An ordered man understands this. He does not protect his time because he's a selfish man. He protects his time because his time and his thinking are valuable. He doesn't say yes to everything. He says yes with a purpose. If y'all feel this one, I want you to type value. If you can feel where I'm coming from, I want you to type value. Because I want to talk about the part that most men miss. And it's the reason why they stay tired even when they're doing everything right. Here we go. Value, 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 value. Wow, how profound. Thinking is valuable. Guys, I want to tell you why most men miss the mark and they stay tired even when they're doing everything right. I want to show you how this all comes together. Hard work stops working to your benefit when your effort isn't tied to outcomes, your value isn't visible, and your time has no boundaries. At this point, your effort is useless. If it's not tied to nothing serious, what makes you think you would advance further? We got to get off the treadmill. If your effort isn't tied to outcomes, if your value that you are bringing isn't visible to the right people, and if you say yes to everything, you have no boundaries, everything that you do doesn't matter. And that's not how we should live our life. But here's the dangerous part. Men start blaming themselves. You tell yourself, man, I just need to work harder. I need to grind, 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 grind. I got to hustle. You tell yourself, man, I just need more discipline. If I could just wake up earlier, that'll do it. If I could just focus a little bit more. And then you start saying, maybe I'm behind in life. I'm just not where I'm supposed to be. Woe is me. But the truth is simple, guys. You're applying force where structure is needed. When you work hard, that's you giving force of will. And you're bringing force where structure is required. You cannot force your way through everything. You cannot add brute force to everything. You know, they got this saying, it's something that my wife always likes to say. To the man that rules with a hammer, everything is a nail. You view every problem in life as, man, I'm going to just put force to it. You supposed to finesse this. Nope, force. Work, I got to make more money. Force. But there's only 24 hours in a day. Are you going to force yourself to stay up 24 hours every single day? Are you going to force yourself to work from sunup to sundown only to have your work invisible? Stop adding force where structure is required. You got to have structure. This is the reason why you feel so exhausted. Let me ask you something, guys. When was the last time your career felt lighter? Not easier, lighter. If it's been a long time that your career felt lighter, I want you to type heavy in the comments section right now. Remember what I told you in our last session. Order always reduces pressure before it increases results. That's very important to remember. You don't fix your career by making more money first. You fix your career by removing wasted effort. You Fix your career by clarifying how you can make the biggest impact within a limited time. Speaking of time, you fix your career by protecting your time. Order comes first, then the money follows. I want you to let that sit for a second. Order comes first, and then the money follows. I want you to really hear that. Okay, now listen up. If we could identify the exact reason why your effort isn't turning into progress and remove the pressure that's making you second guess yourself, work harder than you should, and keep you feeling stuck so that you can learn exactly what you need to focus on this week, guys. If we could look at how I could turn your effort into progress, if that's you, I want you to click the link in the comments right now. I want you to click the link in the comments so that we can talk about that. I'm inviting a few men to step up live. Make sure that your camera is on. Turn YouTube off in the background so there's no echo, and sit somewhere quiet where you can focus. We got to lock in for this one. This works best when you're ready to be honest and present. All right. So I want y'all to tap in. Welcome, sir.
Shalom, Chief Elder. Can you hear me very well?
Any audio? If
Can you
y'all
hear me?
hear him, let me know. Try again. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you now. We good. Okay. All right. So we're going to add some order to this talk right now. Sir, thank you for joining. If you could, sir, please let the people know your name and what city you're watching tonight's session from.
My name is Sir Yashala. Right now, I'm in, I think, Haven, Mississippi. I'm stuck in the storm still. So,
Oh no, man. I'm so sorry to hear that. Haven, Mississippi. How much traveling have you been doing in the storm? You're on mute.
ju- just stuck for 3 days.
Okay. Just stuck. Wow. Stuck for 3 days. Okay. All right. So we got Sir Yashala stuck in Mississippi. Let's make sure that we pray that Sir Yashala is able to make it out of this situation. Now, in one sentence, Sir Yashala, what feels stuck at your line of work? I think you just told us, but if you could, um, maybe go a little bit deeper from me, okay? Outside of the snowstorm, outside of you literally being stuck, because I know a lot of people are watching right now, they feel stuck in a different way. What makes you feel stuck in your current line of work?
Uh, feel stuck because I can't move ahead like I want to. Because a lot of things I didn't know. And while you was talking, I'll take my notes. It seemed like you're part of me. You're right there, like everything I was doing, you were just saying. I wasn't doing. Because
Wow.
like I said, I wasn't taught that at all. So I was just I wasn't structured for as I wake my day up. This wasn't to be set before I even start work or do anything.
Wow.
So that be confused on a lot of things.
Okay, so let me ask you this. What would make this conversation a win for you?
Is to make sure that I'm on the right path. Because, like you said before, I put it on my calendar. The first thing to do first was to get my business credit, my personal credit back up. So I filled out my dispute letters. So I'm ready to go once I get back, probably Friday afternoon or Friday evening.
Gotcha. Okay, so I'm tracking that the win for this conversation is making sure that you're on the right track. So let's first talk about the weight that you're feeling. When do you feel the frustration most during your workday? Do you feel it Monday morning? Do you feel it in the middle of the week? Or do you feel it at the end of the week?
I feel it in the beginning of the week and in the middle of the I mean, at the end of the week
Okay, tell me more. Why is that?
because I feel like I haven't got anything done. And then Friday gets here, I look back, I'm like, I haven't done anything.
Mm,
You know what I mean?
wow.
Because, like you said, I had everybody calling me, do this, do that, or whatever. So I had to stop all that. Hey, send me email from now on, people. That's what it is. If you ain't on my list for the church, send me email. I went cold turkey. I can do
Wow.
that. You know what I mean? But I say, hey, don't. Because you're right. It wastes your time and you can't concentrate what you need to do while I'm working a dangerous job.
Absolutely. Okay. So it sounds like you were being useful and you were responding to every request, but you would go throughout your week feeling busy, but not important, not feeling like you were able to accomplish the things that you really wanted to accomplish. So by the end of the week, you asked yourself, what did you accomplish? Did I capture that correctly?
Very correct.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, okay. So we're on track so far. What are you tired of doing that doesn't seem to matter in terms of your work week?
Driving a truck, I'm not interested anymore. I've been doing them since 1988. And like you said, I'm just useful to them. They don't see me as valuable because the market has overflooded now. So I'm just a number to everybody. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So it's like, okay, we get 20 of you now. You know what I mean? But they do a
right.
terrible job. When something comes up, don't call me. You know,
Wow. That's so interesting that you say that, Sir Yasharala, because that speaks to visible versus loyalty, right? Remember how we were talking about that? A lot of good men are very loyal men, and you've been very loyal to this industry for decades. But now this industry is so saturated, you said that you feel like you're just a number. The standing out within the industry becomes a challenge. So help me understand, how does this translate into stress for you? I get it that you no longer want to be in this industry, but can you kind of tell me about the stress that you feel being a part of this industry that is overpopulated? You feel like you're just a number. You get to the end of the week feeling like you're not sure what you accomplished. Walk me through how that makes you feel from a stress point of view.
um, I can't sleep. My
Mm,
irregulars are sleeping. My irregulars are eating now. You know what I mean? So I'm going to the doctor back and forth. And the stress level is so high because I haven't done it for me, really. You know what I mean? It's for them, but not for me. And that makes me like, hey, you just piss all over me, man. Really? You know what I mean?
wow.
So, but I'm just, and I'm tired. A lot of times I be like, can't do anything. Plus, at my age, I'm overly abundantly tired.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds very heavy. You're not able to sleep, and it really is affecting every part of your life. I mean, the ability to think clearly, how you work, how you eat. So this is really a problem, and I'm so happy that you're on. So let's talk about your workday. Walk me through a normal workday. Tell me what it looks like from the time that you start work to the time that you finish work.
Trucking is a very stressful job. It's not a job, they call it a lifestyle because it is a
Mm,
lifestyle. After maybe 40 in the class, after 1 year, maybe two might remain in trucking because it's very stressful.
wow.
You carry 80,000 to 110,000 pounds on your back. You go to dangerous roads, settle like me under the snow, can't move nowhere. It's 10 truck accidents. You can't do anything. So My morning starts sometime at 5:36. You know what I mean? So I gotta get up in the morning. I gotta do a vehicle inspection, make sure everything's correct. It's a flat, whatever, lights, whatever. And something wrong, I gotta get on the phone, get somebody to fix it. That could be for hours. Because they don't come into really 8 o'clock for repairs. So even where I'm at, now I still have to wait another 3 or 4 hours. So it put me behind on far as making my runs. We get paid by the job. You know what I mean? I get paid by the job, not by the hour. Or smoke drivers get paid by the miles. So that's behind on that. And like this week, I got to watch out for the snow. I broke down. Took 2 days to get a record to put me out the road. There's nothing to eat. Everything's closed. Walmart's. I have food. I don't go to the food in my truck. But still, you're right there. You got to use a proper bathroom. You have to have in your truck because everything is shut down. You know what I mean? So that's your typical day. Rainstorms, whatever. And then sometimes you gotta be a problem solver for the customer. You gotta be a problem solver for your job. Why what happened? I'm just here. I don't know what's going on. Cause they ain't got this dock here or that there. You're over storage. They got to wait, move this, move that, and DOT every year's changing laws. You got to keep up with all kind of laws. You know what I mean? And sometimes my night I can finish at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, but
Hmm.
then again I have to find a parking space. I gotta go loud for it, get a shower. I gotta get a shower. I still haven't ate. I still haven't studied nothing. You know what I mean? And it's dead cold. It was like 16 degrees here. You know what I mean? And you gotta do all this. By the time I really relax or try to relax, it's 10:30, 11 o'clock. And I'm right back up again at 5:30, 6 o'clock all over again. I haven't really done anything.
Oh wow, that's a very busy day. Now, every time I pass by one of those big trucks on the highway, I always think about you. I always think about seeing those guys sleeping in a truck, and like you said, it's a lifestyle, and it keeps you busy around the clock. But among the many things that you do during your workday, what eats most of your time? Like,
Waiting,
what was that?
waiting, because you really can't do anything. I'm looking at make sure someone will hit me, rob me. Like now I got a special load on. I got to get up and go check the trailer anyway, whether that locks or not. It's a special load. You know what I mean? So I go check that out. Or if you have a medical load, you just really can't sleep. You got to check your medical load. You know what I mean? Products. But it's just waiting, not getting anything done because I'm just sitting there waiting. And I get frustrated because I can't do this, I can't do that. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. Get to accustomed to the same thing. You wait, 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 wait.
Wow. Okay. So you're driving, you're weighing, you having to almost play security just to make sure that you're defending yourself, even as you go throughout your journeys. You got a lot going on. So among all of those things, sir, what feels important but never gets
Me, what's still important is me working on my business because I started another LAC a long time ago when you was on the show. You know
attention?
what I'm saying? So a lot of things I couldn't get done. I'm waiting. I got the credit score up to at 85, which is good for a business credit. You know what I mean? But I was just scared to go forward to get the loan because I didn't know what to really and make sure I do this with the money, make sure that with the money, with this with the money. You know what I mean? So now I'm working back on that. That's what my focus is right there for me not getting that done.
I got you. Let me ask you, why do you think you haven't moved out of the trekking business yet?
Afraid. I've been doing this since 1988, and back then it wasn't a lot of opportunities, military stuff like that. That was when I felt more at ease, like you said earlier, because I had people underneath me, being a sergeant, at corporals, specialists, privates underneath me. So it was a lot easier, no stress at all. But that's being afraid, because everybody's afraid. They can say they want to say. I don't jump out of airplanes and choppers. people are afraid and they're afraid of just going through with it because back then we didn't have internet like today. You know what I mean? So we had a lot of time on our hand, really. So that's been afraid to jump out there to get this money and not do what I'm supposed to do, or allocate, like you said, where it's supposed to go at.
Very good. So I want to understand something that you said a little bit earlier. You said that the trucking industry, it has so many truckers now that you just feel like a number. Are you relied upon by anyone in this industry? Like, is there anyone within the industry, like a boss, any contacts that you have that really depends on you? And if they do depend on you, what do they depend on you specifically to do?
No, nobody now. They don't care no more. Nobody cares. It's like I said, it's oversaturated. Nobody cares anymore. They used to care, but since COVID came, it just oversaturated. They just don't care. So real, I'm not depending on anybody. Or don't really depend on me. It's just like, hey, we got something for you. Or you want to take the money or not? Whatever. If not, we move to somebody else.
So if you stop trucking for the next 2 weeks, people wouldn't even notice.
They won't even notice. So when I come to
Wow.
for the holidays, they don't even notice.
Yeah. So I could see just by that alone why it would cause you so much stress. You're finding yourself stuck in this position where you're invisible. I want to talk about the next step. Let's talk about what you should stop doing. One thing that you should stop doing, sir, respectfully, of course, this is to be able to help get you to that next phase. One thing that you should stop doing is just working for work's sake, right? The first thing that you got to stop doing is, okay, I'm trucking, and by the end of this week, I don't feel like I've accomplished anything. We need to make sure that every week has meaning, right? Because time is precious, life is precious. I'm certain you don't want to do this for the rest of your life. And so we really got to get out of the mode of, well, I'm just doing this to get by. This is all I know. And, they got a saying. I hate to say it to you, but I got to say it. They got a saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Now you can't be guilty of that. You don't let them lie on you now. Okay, you got to make that jump, because at the end of the day, this is a sinking ship, and you can already feel it. I mean, man, okay, you're in an industry where you have no visibility and you get stuck in the middle of a snowstorm. It's not worth it. And so the first thing that we need to get right is every week has meaning. So let's talk about how every week has meaning by us focusing on what our outcome needs to be. You remember I mentioned this to you in the last session. I stated that we need a clearly defined goal. Okay, so when you get out of the trucking industry, what will you be doing?
Rehabbing. I want to rehab.
Okay, tell me more about rehabbing. Is the rehabbing going to be freelance? Is it going to be for a specific company? How are you going to be positioned within this industry?
Re- Decision as per me investing in the property, as foreclosure, rundown homes in the community or whatever. Me taking on that responsibility, and then me going out leasing out the work to somebody else. You know what I mean? Because I have brothers in place. They do that. They used to do it. You know how that goes. Used to very good with their talent, but they
Correct.
also I'm trying to bring them back in for us. Focus on your talent because you got good talent. You know what I mean? like that, or some by contract work out what I want done for my vision is for that community or for that property itself. And then take that property once it finishes, put back on the market to resell. I don't want to own. I don't want to own no problems. You know what I'm saying? Just want to
Correct.
resell it back to the community.
Okay. And do you know everything that you need to do in order to successfully transition? And have you written it down along with the date of when it needs to happen?
I haven't written it down. Yeah, and they gonna get on me. I'm trying. If I get confused a lot, if I got this task, so I put it on my task. Yes, I know what I need to do for is that because I do have lenders in place. My brother gets them all the time. I've been had them on my pocket for years. Lenders also. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? 100% lenders, 85% lenders, 85 to ratio lenders. I have in place who get their percentage out the deal, who gives you 100% upfront, 85% upfront, or what upfront first. They just want their percentage of 3 points, 2 points on the deal, 1 point on the deal, something like that. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Okay. So now you've defined the one outcome that you need to focus on. The one outcome that you need to focus on is clarity by having the goal written down. So, Yashala, this happens to so many people. So many people, they have an idea of where they want to be, but they don't have the clarity that comes from having it down in writing. One thing that's crazy is studies actually show that having written goals helps people achieve their goals more on average than people who don't. It's something about having goals written down. You have it written down and you have all of the steps identified because, if you're just kind of imagining it in your mind, you might have an idea of where you want to go, but all of the steps to take, it may not be crystal clear. And when it's vague, it means it's not going to happen. And we cannot afford for it not to happen. So, the one outcome that you need to focus on is taking the time to do the thinking. Remember, we went over this earlier during the session. I was talking about the difference between a useful man and a valuable man. A useful man shows up to work day after day. Sound familiar? Whereas a man that creates value before he works, he's already defined what are his number one efforts. So, what I want us to do, and this is going to kind of transition into our talk about boundaries. You know that I'm very big about having boundaries so that way you can do what is needed to get you to that next level. I want you to put a boundary in place where you focus on making sure that you're not just working for work's sake. Okay. I want you to make sure that you're not just working every day so much beyond what's actually needed. Okay. So obviously, you do have to work. You do have to survive. But what I'm saying is if you could decrease your hours working and still survive, but in exchange for all of those hours where you were just working for work's sake, you're putting the thinking in place and then you're backing it with the action. That's critical time that will transition you from where you are now to where you want to be. Otherwise, you're going to waste all of the time to get you to that next level by being stuck in that rat race of trucking and trucking and trucking. And the problem is, what's the dangerous thing is, you've been doing this for so long, you could put in a lot of hours and not even notice because you're just going to be running on autopilot. You're just going to be used to it. Does that make sense? Shamir has said in the comments section, investing in you, right? So as they say, pay yourself first. But paying yourself first is not just with money, it's also with the investment that you make in your future goals. This is you investing in your time. All right. So, was
Yes,
this a
sir.
value to you, sir?
Very valuable. Always is. Always
Okay.
is.
Thank you so much, sir. And before you go, I just want to thank you for joining. Men, did you hear that? I want you to see what just happened. This wasn't about working harder. Surya Shala, he's a very hardworking man. This was about working on the wrong things. Type I see it in a comment section if this sounds like you. Surya Shala, thank you so much for your time. I'm about to let the next man of order on. Until next time, sir. All right now. All right. So we now have Araya in the house. Welcome.
Shalom, shalom, sir. How you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing well, brother. Blessed to see you, man.
Yes, sir.
All
You as
right.
well.
All right. So now you know how we do. You got to let the people know your name and what city you're watching from.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am Uzziah Israel, currently located in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. So, yes, sir.
Very good. Now, this is a sharp brother, just in case y'all don't know it. All right. So, in one sentence, what feels stuck at work?
um, at work, it's more so I feel a lack of a structure specifically within my line of work for the program that I work with. When it comes to leadership management, the stewardship aspect of the job, and I say stewardship being a recent graduate, kind of relatively new within the workforce, being a recent college graduate, and the stewardship aspect of feeling like I'm seeing the progress and not just going by day to day. In order to make advancement within my career, I feel like that kind of can keep me stuck in it, and it requires a lot more on me to have a sense of I heard you often mention clarity, have a sense of clarity on what my objectives need to be in order to best move forward and advance myself.
Very good. So, I heard you say there's a lack of structure, and you're also coming in as the new guy fresh out of college, and so you're working your way up. Does that sound about right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. What would make this conversation a win for you, Araya?
Yes, sir. Honestly, when you spoke of protecting time and being able to block time to be more efficient throughout your day, I was more curious on like first steps of how you best assess that in the sense of just going about like really blocking out time and finding that those windows within your workday that would probably be best for you to make be the most efficient and move forward. So yes, sir.
Okay, very good. So we're talking about time management. So in order to find out what would be the best way to improve your time, let's start by figuring out where you find the times of the week where you're most frustrated. Is that at the beginning of the week, Monday morning? Is that in the middle of the week? Or is that at the end of the week? Where do you feel the most stress?
mm, I'd probably say more so either beginning of the week or getting like close to midweek.
Okay, now why is that?
So beginning of the week, just off of the fact, everything's kind of just fresh and new with projects coming about. So you'll have new objectives and tasks, specifically in my line of work that come about. And, there's always some juggling that goes in the midst of this project management in a sense. work as an environmental engineer. So within my line of work, there's multiple sites that I actually oversee, specifically to ensure safety regulations and environmental regulations for those particular sites, that things are operating in a safe capacity. And there's, when you get closer towards the end of the week, there's always that eyeball of things that can come up, and kind of, you might have a plan and a schedule for, for things as far as just how to manage time and things of that nature. You might have a plan initially in the week, but when you get towards midweek, it can vary, because you have to be flexible and have to pivot.
Okay, so if I'm hearing you correctly, basically the week kind of comes at you where projects arise, there's new demands, and then by the time that you get further into the week, there could be changes, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so as you're working throughout the week, what are you doing that doesn't seem to matter?
That would be a
You think
good.
everything matters?
I mean, to be honest, in my line where I don't think that there's something that I could just off point and see that, okay, this doesn't matter, because there's always work to be done. Where I'm at, there's always, something, a task to be done. So it's not really just, could say, laid back times of just kind of where, okay, this task might not be as important. I know I have to definitely prioritize throughout the week of just basic protocol, just prioritizing tasks, like, what's going to get done and accomplished first. But yeah, I don't know. I would have to meditate on that one, sir. I would have to meditate.
I think you should, because in any industry, something always matters more than the other thing. And the reason why I'm saying this is because, for a lot of technical people, the biggest hangup is chasing after everything having importance, checking the box on everything. My wife is the same way. She has strong technical skills, and I always tell her, like, don't try to do what you see, like some other engineers doing. She's a software engineer. I always tell her, don't try to do what, you see all of these other engineers doing, because you notice they work very hard, but they never move up, because they're not going about their work week strategically. Yeah, they might know a lot, but someone who might not know half as much as they do is being promoted. And so I'm sure, have you ever heard of the Pareto principle before?
Can not say I have, sir.
Okay, this is very important. So the Pareto principle says that 80% of your results is based upon 20% of your work. The majority of your work isn't the most impactful, right? So we could look at that another way. 80% of everything that you do is not making the biggest impact. It's not actually moving the needle. Now, you could have a ton of reasons as to why you feel that you need to do this. But I think what's important to see here is, if you don't know what is the 20% of work that makes 80% of difference, chances are you're focusing on the 80% of work that doesn't matter, not on the same scale as the number one thing. You get what I'm saying?
Yes,
So,
sir.
like, I'll okay, let's take this session, for example, right? I could focus on the camera, and I could get the world's best camera, and I could focus on, making sure that there's lighting and microphone and this, that, and the third. But if I don't have anything valuable to say, the camera don't mean nothing. That's a part of the 80%, right? Among 10 things, only 2 of the 10 things is really going to take you to the next level. So it's going to be very important to identify what those 1 or 2 things are and really double down on your investment there. And then we can find out what we can do about the other 8 things. It's not necessarily mean that you don't do those other 8 things at all. It just means that those other 8 things don't overshadow the 1 or 2 things that makes the biggest difference. But I want to speak more on this in just a second. Okay, the stress that you find from your job, how does that show up for you in your day-to-day life, in your personal life? How does it show up for you at the house?
Well, I could say in I'm fortunate because I'm able to go in to the office partially throughout the week, and the other half I can telework. So in one aspect, the downside with teleworking is, work is always kind of home with you, in a sense. So it and depending again just off of just the line of work and having to be having to be able to pivot and adjust quickly. Projects can carry after hours. So I would say where it slows me down is in areas of when I'm, like for instance, in areas like when I'm looking to do more things entrepreneur wise. So like personal endeavors, entrepreneur wise, you feel kind of tired and gassed out from just, the hard grind of the 9 to 5. And when you're trying to still have or create structure within the entrepreneurial side of things, it kind of gets harder and things get pushed to the side more in that aspect a lot more often when you kind of feel the day-to-day impacts of just the 9 to 5. So yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. It sounds like you're putting all your energy into the 9 to 5 throughout the work week, and you don't have enough energy after the 9 to 5 to work on the 5 to 9, setting up your own business along with other things. So that's a very good thing to know, Araya, because this is giving us a lot more clarity on how we can move forward. Now, before we talk about your next steps, I just want to confirm with you. You mentioned earlier that you're still kind of new to the industry as a professional, just as a recent graduate, right? And congratulations on graduating. Always like to see brothers moving onward and upward.
yes,
But let
sir.
me ask you, so why do you think you haven't moved up yet? Is it because, you're just getting started, a new grad, or is it anything else?
Honestly, I haven't been so like hung over on whether or not, in particularly my organization, if I'm moving up yet, being only 2 years kind of into it. I know I'm still in entry level in the entry level duration. So I've been more so of making sure that I'm not just allowing the time to go by, and I'm planning on how to structure myself to or positioning myself, to be able to move up in the best way possible. So like another thing too within my schedule that I balance is grad school. So with grad school, that's another thing that can, that as far as time put in, that can fluctuate if you don't have a clear schedule on when you're going to get those certain tasks done. So yeah, that's what I would say on that.
Okay. And so you got some irons in the fire. You've got your 9 to 5. You've got business that you want to establish. You've got grad school. And I know that you've got some other things like church, but
Church, yes,
I
sir.
won't put all your business out there.
Yes, sir.
So let me ask you this. When it comes to your job, is there anything that you feel you should be doing at the job, but you're not doing because you're not able to get around to doing it?
Mm, I don't think. I mean, I think I've been, kind of very thorough in, just getting an understanding of what the job consists of, and making sure I'm doing things effectively. Like, I'm always working at something. So I don't think that there's times where I'm uh, where um, where I'm like not doing something, that I should be doing. I'm spending too much time or effort on one thing. I think that's something I have to get more clarity of and assess from this call, definitely, and establish more clarity in.
Correct. All right. I'm glad that you said that, because now we're going to talk about your next move. The one thing that you got to stop doing is making your time so vanilla. What do I mean when I say you make your time so vanilla? It's very blanket. Like, there's no 80/20 analysis, and there's no clarity on what makes the biggest impact. From what I'm hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, everything seems important, right? So at your job, there's a lot of things that you do that feels important. You are going to grad school, which obviously is important, right? You want to set up a business, and you're taking on a leadership role in church. It's like there's all of these different important things, right? And here's the thing: when everything is important, nothing is important, because it's so easy to put everything on the same scale, and you end up not putting enough time and energy into the thing that just gives you the biggest return on your investment. You see what I'm saying? So what
So,
I'm trying to tell you, Araya, is like in any industry, there's always a select few things that makes the biggest difference, right? You got to find out, what is it that makes the biggest return on your investment, and you've got to start putting deep work time blocks around those things. So in other words, like, you can't just wake up and say, okay, well, hey, I got a to-do list, and I'm going to work on this, and this. Yeah, that just makes you an operator. Even if you have a to-do list about the task that you know that you need to do, the to-do list doesn't necessarily tell you what holds more significance. And if you don't know what holds the most significance, then how can you have clarity and high impact?
mm,
I also want to share this with you, because this is something that a lot of us don't know. You mentioned being a part of the company within the first 2 years, and as a result, you hadn't really thought a lot about upward mobility. Man, I tell you, the most successful people I know in corporate, they're making moves every 2 to 3 years. And the reason why they're making moves every 2 to 3 years is because they understand that at that 2 to 3 year mark, they need to elevate. And if they don't elevate, it'll be so much easier for an employer to kind of keep them stuck in the same place. If any of y'all are in corporate and this has been y'all's experience and you've seen people do this, put it in the comments section. The most successful people I know, they could be working at a Fortune 500 company. They'll be in there for 2, 3 years. They'll take the experience that they need, and then they'll start working for another company. And every time that they work for another company, they start ratcheting up. So they might have gone from being a manager in one company to being a senior manager in another company. And the reason why they will move vertically into another company is because they may not have gotten that same opportunity at the company that they were already working at. Remember what I was going over earlier during the session. When you're valuable and you're focused on advancement mode, not survival mode, it gives you access to make more money. It gives you access to get a promotion at your current work, but it also qualifies you for better opportunities, which could be somewhere else. This is not saying for you to go somewhere else. This is me telling you that if your reason for not thinking about elevation is because you're only 2 years in, you got to make a shift to understand how the biggest winners do it. The biggest winners, they think in 2 to 3 year intervals throughout their career, because they know that if they don't do that, nobody else will. Okay. And so again, man, protected time. Remember, you asked me, I asked you, what would be a win for this conversation? And you told me that a big win would just be you getting an understanding about how to really protect your time. You need time blocks where you can work on the most important things, and not just time blocks at any point during the day. You need very specific time blocks for the highest impact activities to happen during your highest energy periods. Think about what you said. I want to start a business, but I don't have the energy because by the time I get done at work, my energy is already drained. Well, what's that telling you? That's telling you that you need a time block to work on your business when you're not really drained, right? Okay, you have the right goal, but you're working on it at the wrong time. And see, this is the reason why everybody has the same 24 hours in a day, but some people get more out of it, because they understand that within that 24-hour time frame, just because you have it, it doesn't mean that you always have the same energy. It doesn't mean that you always, have the same commitments. You really need to do a deep dive into your schedule and start planning your days with having deep work time block, no interruptions, no distractions, protected non-negotiable times. After you've identified what is the 20% of your effort that will take you the farthest in life. If you do that, Araya, it can be life-changing for you, man. And see, the important thing about you really identifying this now, think about how it's going to compound over time. How old are you?
25 years old, sir.
25 years old. You got the world ahead of you. If you can get this down now, you can compound high impact effort your entire adult life. You have your entire adult life ahead of you. There's people that are watching this session that are much older and they get a lot of value out of it. And so I just want you to first identify what are the most important areas of impact that will push you forward in your life. And then I want you to start creating protected time blocks around that. Do not allow the 80% of things that don't give you the same return on your investment to hijack the 20% that matters the most. That's what I want you to focus on, because that's going to give you the greatest outcomes. You have to put boundaries around that 20%. All right?
Yes, sir. Understood. Understood.
Perfect. Perfect. Did you get some value out of this?
Yes, sir. I did. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, sir. And I just want y'all to see this. I'm on here with Araya, but this is for y'all. I want you to understand again, the issue is not about working harder. We're talking to a man that's graduated from college with a very rigorous degree. Tell him what degree you have, Araya. You know, you could brag a little bit. I won't say nothing.
Yes, sir. So I am a recent graduate, or with a bachelor's in both chemistry as well as chemical engineering, and working on my master's for environmental engineering.
So look at that. Think about this man's background. This is not a dummy. Very smart man, hardworking man. What's missing? Order and structure. So it's not about you working any harder. It's about you adding order to the things that you already do so you can get the most out of it. Thank you so much for joining, man. Lord willing, I see you on the next session.
Yes, sir. Thanks so much for your time, sir.
All right. Now, I want y'all to see something as well. Type I see it if this sounds like you. I'm about to bring in the next brother right now, but I want you to type I see it if you're going through your day, you're working hard, you're smart enough to get the job done, but you don't have good time boundaries. You don't have the right time management in place to say, okay, hey, I might have 100 things going on, but out of that 100 thing, what's the one thing that really matters? See, I can always tell if someone isn't clear if they say, well, you know, everything matters. Come on. It don't. I promise you, it doesn't. And you know something else? I hope Araya is still listening to me. Even if everything does matter, or so you think, that doesn't mean that everything has to get done by you. If I were you, I would identify what's the one thing that I should be doing that I do best, and what are some other things that maybe someone else can do. Just because I'm the business owner doesn't mean that I have to run every area of my business. I have assistants. I have a team in place. I cannot do everything, nor should I do everything, because if I do everything, then that means that the most important things are compromised. All right, we got another wonderful guest on. Welcome, brother. So good to see you. I remember you from the comments of the last session. Welcome.
Yeah, shalom, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. It's good to see you.
Yes.
Tell the people your name and the city where you're watching.
My name is Joshua Israel. Right now, I'm located in Austin, Texas.
Joshua Israel, Austin, Texas. All right. Well, we're not that far apart, man. Welcome. In one sentence, what feels stuck at work?
I would say dominion. And let me explain it to you like this. I feel like I'm stuck, like spiritually, like around Genesis 1 and 2.
Okay. Tell me more. Let's go deeper. Tell me more about that.
So, right now, I'm working with, I would say, two main people in my life. A brother that I met in the truth, and then my biological mother. And I'm living under her house right now. Uh, and it's just a grievance sometimes.
Okay.
So
Now, is there any aspect of what's happening at work on top of the grievance of being at the house?
like at work, I would say that I I feel like an underling.
Mm,
So when I go, I do roofing. I do various works, but I'm just going to speak on this one for this session. Like I do roofing. So when I go there, the type of environment that it is I'm the new guy. So whatever the boss says, it's like jump to it. So that's why I feel like an underling. And I know that it's not supposed to be that way, especially working. Like I've done construction for over 7 years, and I'm still at $10 an hour. Like it's nothing you can do really in this economy with $10 an hour. So I feel undervalued.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. So let me ask you, what would make this conversation a win for you? What would you like to take away from this talk?
Just some counsel and some advice. Like the things that I'm thinking, where I'm trying to go, I want to get past Genesis 1, Genesis 2, get past this type of work. I want to be able to be around more Romans 9, the service of God, things like that. So um I guess my thoughts were Genesis 2:24 and then like Sirach 3. Because like I told you, it's the whole mother and father thing. I want to be able to get to a place to where I can be a strong foundation. So I have, like I say, a family that's outside the truth, and then I have one that's in the truth. I want to be able to be strong enough to support both. Um, just some thoughts on those type of things.
Okay. I'm with you. So let's talk about this job that you're at right now. When do you feel the most frustration throughout the week? Is it at the very beginning of the week, the middle of the week, or the end of the week?
Mm, like I can deal with the frustration. It's just somebody. It's like the authority, I guess, and is the biggest thing. Like I'm learning how to, like I say, roof. So it's like the things that I know that he can do, I have to be, um, what's the word, honorable. Like I have to lower myself, I guess you would say, on a preeminence level to be able to just to deal with the person's attitude. Is one person there, like I want to record everything, put like just do certain things. No, you can't do that. The way that you do this is not right. And then it's not really worth a lot of pay. So it's like why am I really even here? And then the level of work that it is, I'm not saying that he's not professional and that he's not even willing to work with me, because most people don't even allow this, like the stuff that goes on at the job, to be done.
Mhm.
So it's just very annoying dealing with somebody that's a little bit more seasoned and always want their way.
I got you. Now, you mentioned earlier about your living situation. So tell me how the stress of your work plays a role with the stress that you take back at home with you.
Well, for one, I feel lower than I should, because the money that I get, it doesn't amount to really help out of any significance. And then I have to hear that from my leadership. I have to hear it from my mother. And then it's like the employer is like, well, I don't really have a lot to pay you. That's why you're getting 10 an hour. And it's just like, and I know that I could supplement doing other things, like if I go into the stock market, if I do crypto, if I do this, if I do that, if I make the right financial decisions. But it's like, I don't want to have to do any of those things. I just want to be able to go and make a livable wage and be able to help out and be at peace.
Exactly. I agree. So walk me through this job a little bit more. Tell me about your work day. Like how often do you work at this job? What are your hours? Walk me through what the day to day looks like.
And that's another frustration. It's not really a set date. It's like I'll call the guy, I'll ask him, do you have any work today? If he does, he allow me to come in. I've never worked over 8 hours. It's always been less than that, and um it's just like like none of the safety standards are followed. Like it's a mess. But I continue to do it because it's better to have a job than no job in some instances.
Now, see, I want to make sure y'all see that. Remember, we talked about that earlier about survival mode. This is the trap. When you're just trying to make it, it feels so consuming to be in that survival mode. Well, hey, I just got to take a job. I just got to be able to get something under my belt versus being in advancement mode, which is where we're going to get you before I let you off. So, okay. So it seems like this is very up and down. And when you're working, do you feel like you're doing anything meaningful at work? I mean, I heard you say that the boss has a very specific way of you doing things, but you feel like an underling. Do you feel like there's something that you should be doing, but you're not doing?
Um, I think that I could be more humble. The scripture says, "The greater you are, the more that you should humble yourself." And also, I think that him even being willing to show me these things is a great benefit. Of course, I could log on YouTube or whatever, or go pay for some course to learn how to do roofing, but I'm sure they would more than likely be more strenuous as far as a workload on me than he would. It's just at the rate that I learn, like I'm happy after I learn the lesson, but it's kind of like Mr. Miyagi, wax on, wax off. Like you got to do it a whole lot. It's like, and then it's like a trust thing too. Like if a person doesn't trust you, then they don't want to give you the understanding or give you the wisdom. And then sometimes I think like, well, is it even enough to make it on a professional setting? So like you say, it is ups and downs with it.
Absolutely. Let me ask you something. Why do you think you haven't moved up yet? You talked about how you've been in construction over a number of years, but you're still making your current pay. Why do you think that you haven't moved up?
Battling a lot of things spiritually. That's one. Like I know that it's God preparing me, so when I do get whatever role that He has for me, I'll be there and be, like I said, a pillar. So it's just that um the building, just the building up of me ultimately. I need to build myself more.
I'm glad that you said that. How many people work at this job? Are you really noticed at this job, or are there so many people you're not really that visible?
Now it's just me and him.
Just you and him, and he gives you that wage. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, how did you get this job?
Um, I was at a coffee shop. I met the guy at the coffee shop, and then I just called him one day, and he was like, "Yeah, I got some work for you to do." So I started working
Mm,
with him.
okay. All right. So you met this guy, and you kind of networked your way into this position. Okay. I got it. All right. So let's talk about the next move. This goes back to what I was saying before about loyalty versus visibility. If you've been working this long in this industry and you're still only making that $10 an hour, then that really speaks to the visibility that you need to have, right? Like when I hear 7 years that someone hears works in the industry, I think, okay, this is someone that may not have like a senior level experience, but they definitely are on their way. You didn't just get started yesterday. There really should be advancement. And so when I'm speaking about visibility, I think that's very telling whenever you mention that you got this position based upon meeting someone at the coffee shop versus, for example, applying for a position online and turning in a resume, or even um, someone who is in a good company and they can speak well to your work, and then they refer you for a higher position. Right now, the one thing that you need to stop doing is selling yourself short in terms of visibility. You've got to be able to get employers to see your worth, because if you don't do that, then they're always going to give you little to nothing. I mean, you said it. You know, you're living in Austin, Texas, which is a fairly expensive city, but you're not getting a very sustainable wage. And as a result, that could kind of keep you stuck in situations like with what you were talking about, where you're currently living. And so what we have to do is we can't just work jobs anymore. We've got to be able to think through, how are we going to maximize our impact, show our value, and then level up. If you're going to be in this industry for a more extended period of time, it's going to be very critical to be able to get strong, in demand skills within this industry. Gone are the days of just taking any job that comes. You got to stop operating in survival mode. And I know that it's very hard to do whenever you feel that your back is against the wall. But this is the problem. When you are in survival mode, you will stay in survival mode. The only way to get out of survival mode is to be in advancement mode. How do we advance? First, we develop the skills. I noticed that you quoted, a handful of scriptures, which is a beautiful thing. As you know, the scripture says, seeth a man that's diligent in his business, he shall walk amongst kings. He shall not be amongst mean men. And so what we've got to do is we've got to show your diligence in business, so that way you can stand before kings professionally, and that's going to show with your reward. The fruit of your labor is going to reflect in your income. You've got to build the skills, and it's not enough to just know it. You've got to be able to document. You've got to be able to show and prove. You've got to be able to look in your industry and see, okay, the people who are making the kind of money that I want to make, what do they do? What's the name of their position? How much experience do they have in this industry? What skills do they have that I don't? So the one outcome that I want you to focus on is I want you to identify what your goal position is. I heard what you said a little bit earlier. You mentioned you're just trying to make enough to be able to make a living for yourself. And I understand the reason why you're saying that is because, you're in the position that you're in now, and you need to be further along. I'm glad that you also saw that you don't need to think about like crypto or stocks or anything else, because you honestly don't have the capital to really make a big change if you're trying to invest. Investing will come later. Right now, we've got to raise your income. And the number one way that we do that is by identifying what is the one position that you're going to set as your target position. We need to be very clear on what position is this and when are you getting there? Are you going to get there next year? Are you going to get there in the next 6 months? You might even have the skills right now to land this position. I don't know. But what I do know is that if you don't have a very clear goal defined that highlights what is the role within this industry, how much it is, and who's the right person for that position, you're going to constantly find yourself where you are right now. And people are going to take advantage of where you are right now because they know how desperately you need the money. Okay. So we're going to take your skills, King, and we're going to put it in the area where it matters most and it is valued. I want you to walk away from this call identifying that one position and setting a goal to go after that position, listing all of the steps that are needed to get it. Here's one boundary that I need you to put in place this week. I want you to put an emotional, mental, and spiritual boundary in place. I want you to block out everything that's bad about your current situation and focus only on the goal. I don't want you to focus on the fact that you're treated like an underling. I don't want you to focus on what's happening at the house. I don't want you to focus on the fact that you're making $10 an hour. All of those things are true. But the reason why a lot of us get stuck in poverty is because our circumstances weigh us down and we feel like we can't get out of it. If we think, man, this is just how life is, this is just how I grew up, this is all I know, this is all I'm ever going to be, that's how you stay stuck there. So I want you to build your own Garden of Eden. You mentioned Genesis 1, you mentioned Genesis 2, right? When Adam and Eve were kicked out of the garden, hardship followed. The Garden of Eden was a place of protection from the dangers outside. So what I want you to do is I want you to build your own spiritual Garden of Eden. As the scripture says, the kingdom is within you. I want you to have your own kingdom where you're not thinking about where you are, but you're thinking about where you want to be. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. I want you to think about this vision, because where there's no vision, the people perish. I want you to think and write down the vision, work towards the vision, and not allow yourself to be weighed down by your circumstances today in such a way that it will pull you from where you need to be tomorrow. Does that make sense?
Sir. Yes, sir, it does. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So before I let you go, again, I just want to do a few things. Number one, I want to see, did you get value from this talk? I want to make sure that after we get on this call, after we get off this call, brother, you get everything that you need to take that next step forward.
Yes, sir, Elder. What I noted down was allow them to see the value in me, identify where I fit in the industry or where I need to go, and focus on the goal.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I want you to tap in with me for future sessions. You're not in this alone.
Thank you, sir.
Come on to these future sessions. These are all for free, and I will be able to walk you through this step by step. So, men that are watching, did you hear this? This is a man who has been in an industry for a fairly long time, and he's working a hard job, but he's not getting the respect and the visibility that he deserves. So again, I want you to see, is visibility about him working harder for $10 an hour, or about him positioning himself so that he can double his income? I'm sure that he could make a lot more if he just focused on the visibility over the loyalty. Brother, it was so good to speak with you, man. If it be the Lord's will, we'll speak again soon. All right now. Okay, so I'm going to take on one more. Guest. Thank you so much, Brother Fedrigue, for joining. If you could, please give the people your name and the city that you are watching from.
Sure. So my name is Frederick Wilcox. I'm watching from Florida.
Okay, very good. Florida's in the house.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so in one sentence, tell me what feels stuck at work.
Well, I own a small landscaping company,
Okay.
and I've been in for about 3 years now. The first year, majority of the time, I was solo, pretty much solo, majority of the time. The second uh, and third year, I had one helper, pretty consistent. Um, now, no, I'm saying, I feel stuck. I'm in my third year now. Where I'm stuck is I feel like right now I need to take it to the next level. In other words, but I'm stuck on as far as I'm making the decision if do I wanna stay in in this career or do I wanna make it change?
Understood. So, what would make this conversation a win for you?
Um, I think it's as far as deciding uh as far as making it deciding to make that change or stay take it to the next level.
Okay, absolutely. Just getting clarity on your next step.
Yes, sir.
So, talk to me about what frustrates you in the business. Let's first talk about when you feel the most frustrated in running your business. Is it at the start of the week, middle of the week, end of the week?
Um, I would say probably the middle of the week.
And why is that?
I think it's because because I'm the main person, so I have to be there all the time, and a lot of time work piles up, and it can get frustrated a little bit.
Okay, I hear you. You're carrying the full load and you're right in the middle of the week. So, you don't have that same energy from the start of the week and you're not yet at the end of the week. I totally get it, especially as a business owner. So, let me ask you, um, how does the stress of this show up at home?
Um, I wouldn't say it show up too much. I'm pretty good at hiding it for the most part. No, I don't. As far as at home, I would say because I don't have the time. I don't have the time for the family as much as I would like to.
I'm glad that you said that, man, because I'd be willing to bet that the stress of you carrying the full weight of a business that you don't know you're going to hold on to or not has some effect at the home just in quiet ways. And so I want to unpack that with you a little bit more as we talk through this. So, walk me through a normal work day for your business. What do you do throughout your work day?
Throughout the day, I mean, I start usually my day start on Sunday, and I'll have a schedule written down, and I have different customers. Usually Sunday. Majority of the time, I'm working Sunday to Friday, right?
Okay.
6 to
And what takes up most of your time?
I would say it's I would say driving. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Driving, switching different clients here and there.
Okay, so you drive to search for different clients.
Right.
Okay. So is there some area of your business that you believe is important, but you're never able to spend much time doing it?
Um, I would is it important that I haven't. Wait, repeat it again for me.
Yeah. So, is there some area of business, because you're a business owner, which means you wear a lot of hats, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is is there one area of business, or is there maybe a business task that you could be doing where kind of as you go through your
Okay.
week, you're like, man, I know I should be doing this for my business. I know I should be doing that for my business, but I'm not able to do it because these other things are taking up my time.
Yes, sir. I would say yes. As far as advertising, you know what I'm saying. As far as advertising, because I have to be on a specific job, so I have very little time to advertise to pick up more customers.
I like where you're going. Why do you think that your business hasn't grown yet?
I think it's as far as making the decision, well, as far as taking it to the next level, I think it's all on me making that decision also, and I'm not 100% if I want to stick to that career. I want to stay, but as far as if I had the proper help as somebody to run it, then I'll have more time to advertise and all that. But I would say, as far as me making the decision, that's why I haven't grown.
Okay, you're saying that your business hasn't grown because you haven't made a real commitment as to whether you're going to stay with this business for the long run or not.
Correct.
Okay, well, I think we know the next move. The one thing that you need to stop doing is um, riding the fence. Where here you are, you're in the midst of a business, but you haven't decided whether you're going to be fully committed to this business over time or not. Now, let me ask you this. Is there any reason why you wouldn't want to do the business? Because you got into this business for a reason. Are you having second thoughts about being in a business because you don't have the right help? Is it because of money? Is this something that you really want to do?
Yes, somehow I do. That's my passion. That's one of my passions. You know what I'm saying? As far as landscaping and gardening. But
Okay.
as far as second thought is based on health wise and based on um, the long one it can wear out on the on the body. And as far as my age, where I'm at now, I mean, I just reached 40. So as far as yeah, based on that, based on health wise, and if I had the part, like I said, if I had the proper help and structure it where somebody's running it, then yes.
Okay. This sounds very clear to me. It sounds like you need to make a decision that you're going to stick with this business and work through it smarter. Now, if you decide that you don't want to do the business, then I think you need to identify, well, what are you going to do instead? And how do you know that if you do something else, you're not going to find yourself going through some of the same problems and pain points that you're in right now? Because anything that you do for work or entrepreneurship is going to come with its own problems, right? So let's just assume that you do stick with the business. The first thing that you have to do is get clarity on the kind of business that you want. You got to get back to the dream. You've got to imagine what a dream day would look like for your business. Where would the business um, take place? Uh, how much money would the business be making? What would your role look like within the business. How much time would you be working on the business? How much time would you be spending with your family? I want you to imagine what the perfect business would look like. After you've imagined what that perfect business looks like, I want you to write that down, because if you're not writing it down, then chances are it's going to be very vague. Where there's no vision, the people perish. Now, once you've identified what that dream business looks like, then we can start working in reverse. We can start identifying, okay, well, I don't have the dream business today, but what is the one thing I can do today to get me to that dream business tomorrow? Because we need to make progress. One outcome that I really want you to focus on, and you really kind of hit the nail on the head earlier, is you've got to not just take on new clients just for work's sake. I asked you, what are you spending most of your time doing in your landscaping business? You know what I thought the answer was going to be? Landscaping. I thought you were going to tell me, hey, I'm spending the majority of my day actually doing landscaping. But if you're spending the majority of your day for your landscaping business driving, then that means that you need to find zones to work in. And I was so happy that you already identified marketing and advertisement as one of the steps that you need to take, because one of the things that you can do to attract more business, you can have targeted ads in very specific sections of cities. Now, obviously, I always teach that a great way to get business is through word of mouth marketing. If you have a great service and someone speaks highly of you, then someone else would be willing to give you a shot. I never advise advertising if the quality of the service provided is not up to par. Because if you advertise a bad service, you're just telling more people how bad the business is. If it's a great business and it's just the best kept secret, okay, now we need to get it out there. We need people to be able to see it. We need you taking photos of the work that you do. We need to be seeing reviews and testimonials. We need to understand, why would a customer do business with you versus other landscaping companies? We need to focus on our marketing. This is a very big challenge. And I believe this is the very thing that's stopping you from getting the help and getting you to the next level. You're taking on different jobs and different places that's got you traveling all over, but you don't actually have a zone nor a system that says, okay, hey, Monday, I'm staying within this radius. I'm cutting yards on this block. And the majority of my time is going to be spent cutting yards, making money, right? Because you need money to be able to hire someone else so that you don't have to do everything yourself, right? And so one of the things that I know that you're going to need to balance is, you're going to need to balance thinking through your marketing while also doing the work itself. As you're driving, you need to be brainstorming, how do I get more clientele that's, in a closer location? And so, we'll talk more about this in future sessions. I would like to see you on so we could kind of work through these things together. But the one boundary that I would like you to put in place this week is, I want you to go all in. Either you're in this business or you're not in this business, but we cannot waver, right? We have to let our yay be yay and our nay be nay. So if we're doing the business, hey, let's run it like a business. Let's get our marketing correct. Let's figure out how we're going to start attracting not just customers, but the right customers. Do we need to get a lot of customers and the business is focused on high volume? Or do we need to have a high quality business where maybe we don't need a ton of clients, but we need a handful of clients that are willing to pay us very well for the quality of work that we're doing? These are all things that we can discuss on future calls. But for
Sir.
right now, let's have a firm commitment. Let's not be all over the place. Let's get very clear on what the dream business would look like and start taking steps forward. Does that sound good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, for those of y'all that are watching, do you hear this? Do you hear how the issue is not about working harder? It's really about working smarter, right? If we're in a landscaping business, but we see that we're spending more time driving than landscaping, we're working on the wrong things. We got to figure out how can we really point our focus towards what's making money in the business. If we're doing a lot of driving, we're going to be spending money, right? Because we're going to be traveling, but we might not be getting paid at the same time. And so let me know if you've experienced a problem like this in the comment section. If you can see how he's going through these problems because he's doing it all on his own, he's just trying to make this living, but he doesn't actually have like a firm commitment. If you've tried to start a business based upon a passion of yours, but you didn't maybe have all of the business planning, you didn't have the marketing, you didn't have a team in place to assist you, type I see it, because I want to see how many of you guys are out there wishing that you could run a business successfully. That may be your passion, but because of the fact that you don't have these steps in place, it's really holding you back. Thank you so much, sir, for
Yes,
joining.
sir.
And I'm
Appreciate
hoping
it.
that I see you on future sessions. Did you get some good value from this call?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Until next time.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, y'all, let's lock this in. Okay. It's go time. Here's the ordered outcome for tonight. An ordered man stops proving his value with effort and starts positioning his value with structure. You saw me speaking to multiple men on this call. What were we talking about? Structure. All of these men work hard, but what's missing? The right level of structure. You got to be able to see that. If you remember nothing else, remember that. An ordered man stops proving his value with effort and starts positioning his value with structure. Uh, a lot of you guys are very talented. A lot of you guys are hard workers. A lot of you guys are intelligent, but you're focusing so much on effort, and you're focusing so much on effort, you're not even putting the effort in the right place. You got to have structure so that way your effort pays off. Remember what I said earlier. If you have hard work, if you got a good work ethic, but it's not tied to significant results, then your work is useless. It's pointless. You're going to feel like you're not going anywhere. So your next move is not more grind. Your next move is one protected block of time. Like I told Araya, it's one clearly defined outcome. Like I told Sir Yasharala, it's one boundary that guards your energy, like I told Joshua, not getting so caught up in the circumstances that it weighs you down and distracts you from the bigger picture of where you want to be. That's it. If tonight gave you clarity, type order before you log off. If tonight helped you to understand how you can take the next step forward, type order, because clarity precedes mastery. You have to be clear about where you're going in order to get there. Look at all the comments. Order, 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 order. Colleen says, this makes so much sense. Hey, this is just the second session. We got many more to go. And I want y'all to remember, Men of Order exists to build lives that don't crush the men living inside them. I was talking to guys tonight that are on the verge of feeling crushed by the lives that they chose, the lives that they're living, and they want change. Men of Order exists so that you're not crushed by the life that you're living. We apply order to our life so that way we can have a life well lived. In the next session, guys, we're going to talk about money, because a lot of men think their problem is income when it's actually disorder. I'm going to show you why money slips through disordered hands, even when you make more of it. We're not chasing more money, y'all. We're removing chaos. Always remember, order comes first, and then the money follows. Until next time, walk in order, guys. Peace.